Does an animal's life matter to you? Why are we still buying from non-cruelty-free companies? Animal cruelty is a issue that deserves a shed of light of change. After reading magazine articles from New York Times, videos from the PETA Foundation, as well as academic articles, I have gained enough knowledge to know what animal cruelty is and how it happens all over the world and why change is needed. Today, first, I'll be talking to you about how animal cruelty is being used around the world and how it is deteriorating our animals and why change is needed. Secondly, I'll be discussing with you my plan, which will provide rights for our animals and protect our innocent animals. And lastly, I would like you to visualize the good effects of following my law system, which is the animal safety law system. So let me first demonstrate how animal testing is being used around the world and how it's deteriorating our animals. So our government is not doing a very good job on protecting our animals. Animal testing is a horrendous thing that occurs, and which is why change is needed. So according to an academic journal that was published in 2011, many of our big brands that we purchase on a daily basis test on animals. Also, according to a newspaper article that was also published in 2011, majority of our cosmetic brands such as L'Oreal, Maybelline test on animals due to a fear of lawsuits. According to the same source, 3.9 million animals are tested every year, which is a large number, all for these experiments. And then, according to an internet source from organization P, published in 2013, the surviving rate of our animals surviving through these experiments is very low. According to the same source, only 3% of the animals survive through these experiments, which is really low and really sad. A lot of the times, these animals inhale toxic fumes before they die. They even get holes drilled in their head and their skin burned off while they're alive, which is completely deteriorating the animal life and putting them through all this harshness for not a valid reason. And then also there's been many instances where it's been proven that using animals as experiments and lab rats is very wasteful. According to an internet source from organization A published in 2019, the majority of these animal testings don't have a contribution to human health. And then despite these products being tested on animals, there's still a chance for the product to give someone a rash or a bad reaction to someone's face. So even though they do test them, there's still a possibility of that. And then also the medical advancements are very questionable. So now that I've discussed with you how animal cruelty is all around the world and how our big companies use it and why change is needed, let me discuss with you my second point, which is my plan, which is the animal safety law system that I plan to offer to protect the innocent lives of our animals. So the animal safety law will provide safety for animals and be enforced and essentially give our animals basic animal rights. So the animal testing will only be permitted in medical experiments that could help human life, such as like cancer treatments and things like that. And also for each experiment, the species that will be used will be determined. And in order to successfully use an animal, the company has to prove that their product will help human health or human life. And then because of this, big brands will finally find alternatives to test their products. So from a video entitled "Why Mice Are the Best Candidates of Research" that was published in 2017, using mice for experiments are more beneficial because they have similar DNA to humans, which is shown in the video, and which is why we should do more research and use lab rats instead of using actual animals such as dogs or cats. And then according to the same source, they discussed there's a way to make human-like tissue for medical experiments, which also we could look more into and could be very beneficial. And then with creating the system, there will also be protection for the companies who comply with it. So a lot of cosmetic brands have been very scared because of lawsuits from people getting rashes or bad reactions. So this system will essentially protect them from that. So as long as they follow our system, their product will be deemed as use at own risk. So if someone ever gets a bad reaction to it, there's no way that the company could get a lawsuit from it, since we did provide that there is a possibility of a bad reaction. And so far I've covered first how animal cruelty is being used around the world and how it's deteriorating our animal and why change is needed. And secondly, my plan, which I offer, which is animal safety law system that will protect our animals. And my final point, I would like you to visualize all the benefits of creating this system. So this system will be the solution and start and end of everlasting protection for our animals. So I'd like you to visualize how this will encourage brands to find other ways to test their products, how animal cruelty will also decrease, and then imagine how many companies will be cruelty-free and how many of our innocent animals will finally have justice. And then also, because of this, these companies will receive consequences if they do not comply with the system, and this will be the stop and end of animal testing. Since there will be consequences for it, the companies will have no other choice but then to comply with them. So if the companies do not follow the rules, they'll have their licenses revoked permanently, and if a continuation of not complying goes on, then there will be legal action will be taken. So lastly, here are ways you could take action on this issue. First, you'll need to stop purchasing non-cruelty free items so you're not feeding into these big companies. Secondly, you can follow the animal safety rights systems and call big companies and inform them of this law so they can start to follow it. And lastly, you can sign petitions to create petitions created to stop animal cruelty. And yeah, thank you.